The clock never stops. The days turn into years, the years into decades. And then, one day, you wake up and the world tells you your time has passed. They say youth is power, that success belongs to the young, that the future no longer belongs to you. They whisper that the best moments are behind you, that your story is over. But what if they're wrong? What if everything you've lived through, every struggle, every triumph, every lesson carved into your soul, was not leading to an ending, but a beginning? History is filled with those who refuse to fade away. They didn't listen when the world told them to sit down, to step aside, to disappear into the background. They stood up, they created, they built legacies when no one believed they could. At 65, a man named Harlan Sanders carried nothing but a recipe and a dream. The world had written him off. He knocked on doors, rejected over 1,000 times, and yet he built an empire. At 78, a woman picked up a paintbrush for the first time. She wasn't a trained artist. She wasn't wealthy or famous, but she painted, and her work would hang in museums across the world. At 89, a man laced up his running shoes, not to walk, not to reminisce, but to run. And at 101, he crossed the finish line of his last marathon. This is not about age. This is about defiance. About refusing to let the world decide when you are finished. You are not finished. You are not fading away. The best years of your life are not behind you. They are waiting for you to claim them. You are not born to slowly disappear. You were born to leave a mark, to make these years count, to prove that time does not steal, it builds. That experience does not fade, it sharpens. That wisdom is not weakness, it is power. Aging is not the end. It is the moment when everything you are, everything you have ever been, becomes unstoppable. This is your time. This is your moment. This is your new beginning. For generations, the world has told a lie so deeply woven into society that most people accept it without question. That after a certain age, life begins to fade. That after 55, after 60, after retirement, your greatest contributions are behind you. That your dreams no longer matter. That your future is already written. But tell me, who decided this? Who was it that declared youth the only season of purpose? Who was it that decided wisdom was a burden instead of an advantage? Who had the audacity to look at decades of experience, struggle, triumph, and say, "That's enough, you have nothing left to give"? They were wrong. Society may tell you that youth is everything, but the truth is far more powerful. Wisdom, experience, resilience. These are the greatest strengths a person can have. And they do not belong to the young. They belong to you. Do you feel like time is running out? Like the opportunities you once dreamed of are slipping through your fingers? Then hear this. Some of the most impactful, world-changing people in history found their true calling later in life. Not in their 20s, not in their 30s, later. At 65 years old, Harlan Sanders sat in a small house in Kentucky, staring at a Social Security check of just $105. He had no fortune, no empire, just a fried chicken recipe and a belief that it was worth something. He could have given up. He could have listened to the voices that said, "You're too old to start over." Instead, he picked himself up, packed his recipe, and started knocking on doors. 1 rejection, 10 rejections, 100, 1,000, 1,009 rejections before someone finally said yes. And at 73 years old, at an age when most people are told to take it easy, he built a global brand. The world knows it as Kentucky Fried Chicken. Do you hear me? At 73, he was not done. His legacy was not behind him. It was waiting ahead. And he was not the only one. A woman named Anna Mary Robertson spent her life as a farmer's wife, never once considering herself an artist. It wasn't until the age of 78, after arthritis made it too painful for her to sew, that she picked up a paintbrush for the first time. And something incredible happened. She painted scenes of the world she knew, the way she saw it. And that vision, that perspective, made her one of the most famous folk artists in American history. You may not know the name Anna Mary Robertson, but you know Grandma Moses. She became a world-renowned artist after 78. So tell me, what is it exactly that's stopping you? The truth is this: your best ideas do not have an expiration date. Your ability to create, to dream, to impact the world does not stop at a certain number. The only thing that changes is perspective. You do not have less time, you have different time. And the question is not how much is left, but rather what will you do with it? Aging isn't about losing time, it's about using it. And right now, in this moment, you have more wisdom, more clarity, more strength than you have ever had in your entire life. This is not the end, this is the beginning. So what will you do with it? Because one day, years from now, someone will sit in front of a camera and tell your story. Will they say you let the world tell you when to stop? Or will they say that when the world counted you out, you decided to start? The day you retire, something shifts. For years you wake up with a purpose, work, responsibilities, a schedule that fills the hours. And then, one day, the alarm clock no longer rings. The emails stop, the meetings disappear, the routine is gone. At first, it feels like freedom. No deadlines, no obligations. You tell yourself you've earned the rest. You sleep in a little later, take longer walks, enjoy the quiet. But then, something else sets in. The days stretch longer, but not in the way they used to. The structure you once had, the sense of contribution, it fades. You start to feel disconnected, as if the world is moving forward while you are standing still. You wonder, what now? If you have felt this, you are not alone. Many people step into retirement with the expectation that it will bring peace, that without the pressures of work, life will be fuller. But what they don't tell you is that work was never just about a paycheck. It was about purpose, about feeling needed, about knowing that what you do matters. And when that is taken away, when the routines that defined your days vanish, it is easy to feel lost. But let me tell you something. Retirement is not the end of purpose. It is the opportunity to build a new one. Because purpose is not something that disappears with age. Purpose is not attached to a job title. Purpose is something you create. Do you know the name Anna Mary Robertson Moses? For most of her life, she was not an artist. She was a farmer's wife, a mother, a woman who spent her days tending to a household. She worked with her hands, raising children, watching the seasons change. And then, in her late 70s, arthritis made it too painful for her to continue sewing. The craft she had once loved was slipping away. So she picked up a paintbrush. At 78 years old, she began painting landscapes, scenes of the world she had always known. Not for fame, not for recognition, but because she needed a new way to express herself, and something extraordinary happened. People noticed. Her paintings captured something rare, an authenticity, a warmth. And by 80, she was a world-renowned artist. Did you hear that? At 78, she started. At 80, she became a global name. This is what they don't tell you about purpose. It doesn't retire. It doesn't fade. It doesn't vanish with age. It evolves. The only question is, will you let it? You spent decades pouring your energy into work, into responsibilities, into raising families, into commitments that defined you. But tell me, what did you set aside? The book you always wanted to write, the music you never learned to play, the places you always wanted to see, the knowledge you wanted to pass on, the hands you wanted to help. Retirement is not about stepping away from life. It is about stepping into what you were always meant to do. And before you say, it's too late for me, tell that to the grandmother who went back to school at 70. Tell that to the retired executive who started mentoring young entrepreneurs. Tell that to the man who picked up his guitar for the first time at 65 and now plays for crowds who feel his music in their bones. Tell that to the woman who started volunteering and in doing so found herself again. What if you allowed yourself to see retirement not as an end, but as a doorway? A doorway into something greater. A doorway into the passion you never pursued, the knowledge you never shared, the experiences you never embraced. A doorway into a chapter that is entirely, beautifully yours. So tell me, what is one thing you've always wanted to do but never had time for? Think about it. Truly think about it. And then tell yourself the truth. There is nothing stopping you now. You are not finished. You are beginning. There's a myth, one that has been whispered in the ears of generations. A myth so widely accepted that it has stopped countless people from reaching for more. And that myth is this: I'm too old to learn something new. Too old? Says who? Think about the first time you learned to walk. It wasn't easy, was it? You stumbled. You fell. But you didn't stop. Your mind adapted, your muscles adjusted, and eventually you took that first step. Think about the first time you learned to read, the first time you learned to drive, the first time you tried anything unfamiliar. You struggled, you doubted yourself, And then, one day, it became second nature. That is how the brain works. That's how you work. Now let me ask you something. Why would that suddenly stop? Why would your mind, your ability to adapt, your capacity to grow, why would it vanish simply because the years have passed? The truth is, it doesn't. Science tells us that the brain is designed for reinvention. At every stage of life, your brain is capable of forming new connections, of building new skills, of creating entirely new pathways of thought. Did you know that learning literally strengthens the brain? Studies show that people who continue to challenge themselves, who keep learning new skills, have a lower risk of dementia, stronger memory retention, and sharper thinking, even into their 80s and 90s. Lifelong learning is not a luxury. It is not an indulgence. It is survival. And yet, how many times have you told yourself, it's too late for me? How many times have you hesitated, convinced that new things belong to younger hands, younger minds? How many times have you watched from a distance, wanting to try, wanting to begin, but held yourself back because of one lie? You are not too old. You are not past your prime. You are not done growing. At 94 years old, Nola Ox became the oldest person to graduate from college. She didn't let anyone tell her she was too old to sit in a classroom. She walked across that stage, diploma in hand, proving to the world that the only real limitation is the one you accept. At 60 years old, Paul Ceremoni retired from a long career in government. Most people would have settled into a quiet life. But Paul? He enrolled in law school. He studied. He passed the bar. And he became a lawyer at 65. So tell me, what is stopping you? You don't need to go back to school. You don't need to start a new career. But what if, just once, you allowed yourself to step into something new? Pick up a book in a subject you've never explored before. Learn a new language, not for work, not for obligation, but for the sheer joy of it. Take an online course, join a community group, pick up an instrument and play the music that has lived in your heart for years but never found its way to your hands. What is one thing you've always wanted to learn but never had time for? Think about it. Say it out loud. And then, write it in the comments. You were not meant to sit still. You were not meant to shrink as time moves forward. You were meant to expand, to stretch beyond what you've known, to reinvent. Because the truth is this, learning doesn't belong to the young. Growth doesn't belong to a certain age. It belongs to anyone who refuses to settle. Anyone who chooses to wake up and say, today I begin again. And today that person can be you. There comes a moment in life when the world seems to shift. The calls become less frequent. The questions that once sought your guidance grow fewer. The people who once depended on you now stand on their own. And for many, that moment brings a quiet thought, one they never expected to have. Am I still needed? Let me tell you something. Yes. Yes, you are. Your wisdom, your experience, your journey, they matter. The lessons you've learned, the battles you've fought, the strength you have carried through the years, these are gifts. And the world, it is starving for what you know. Too often, society equates value with youth. It glorifies the fast, the new, the next. But the truth is, nothing in this world moves forward without the wisdom of those who came before. Every great leader, every groundbreaking innovator, every young mind that has dared to dream was shaped by someone who came before them. Someone who guided them. Someone who shared their wisdom. Someone like you. Agnes Zalesnik was 81 years old when she became a teacher. While others her age were told to slow down, she was just getting started. She stepped into a classroom, stood before students and began to teach because she knew she had more to give. And for the next 22 years, she changed lives. She didn't retire until she was 103. Do you understand what that means? It means you are never too old to make an impact. It means there is no expiration date on purpose. So tell me, what knowledge do you hold? What stories do you carry? What lessons could change someone else's life? You don't have to step into a classroom to be a teacher. You don't have to write a textbook to be a mentor. The world is filled with people who need you, who need what you know. Volunteer at a school or library. Speak to the young minds who are searching for guidance. Share your wisdom with someone who is where you once were. Because you are the roadmap they don't even know they need. Write a book. It doesn't have to be a bestseller. It doesn't have to be perfect. But your words, your experiences, they deserve to be shared. Someone out there needs to hear your story, or maybe you prefer conversation. Maybe you have insights that could help others. Start a blog, share your thoughts, pass down the knowledge that has shaped you. Because what you have learned, the experiences that have defined your life should not be lost. They should live on. Think back. Think of the people who guided you, the teachers, the mentors, the role models who shaped your path. Where would you be without them? Now ask yourself this: who is waiting for you? Your purpose is not behind you, it is before you. There is someone out there right now who needs what you have to give. And when you choose to share it, when you choose to pass on your wisdom, you do something extraordinary. You become immortal. Because long after you are gone, your wisdom will remain. Your lessons will continue. Your impact will never fade. So tell me, what is one thing you know, one lesson, one experience that could help someone else? Think about it and then share it in the comments, in a conversation, in a story, somewhere. Because the world needs your wisdom. You are not forgotten. You are not invisible. You are needed, more than you know. Aging is often spoken about in whispers. People say it as if it's something to fear, something to resist. They talk about the aches, the slowing down, the decline. But what if they've been looking at it all wrong? What if aging isn't about losing? What if it's about gaining wisdom, gaining self-awareness, gaining the freedom to choose what truly matters? What if your body, your mind, your very essence are not fading but evolving into something stronger? Aging well isn't just about avoiding illness. It's about embracing vitality. It's about taking what you've been given and using it. Because the secret to longevity, to happiness, to a life well lived is not found in a doctor's office. It is found in the small choices you make every single day. So ask yourself, what are you doing today to honor your body, your mind, your spirit? Start moving. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be extreme. But your body was meant to move. Take a walk every morning, every evening. Stretch, breathe deeply. Let your muscles wake up. Let your heart feel the rhythm of life again. Because movement isn't just about staying fit. It's about staying alive. What you put into your body matters. Food is not just fuel. It is medicine. Eat whole foods, real, nourishing, life-giving foods. Drink water. Hydrate your skin, your joints, your very cells. Every bite you take is either helping your body thrive or decline. Choose wisely. But health is not just physical. It is mental. It is emotional. It is spiritual. Practice gratitude. Every morning, before you do anything else, name 3 things you are grateful for. Say them out loud. Let your mind focus on what is good. Because the thoughts you choose to hold on to will shape the way you experience life. Meditate. Find stillness. Even just 5 minutes a day. Close your eyes. Breathe. Let go of stress, of tension, of the weight you've been carrying. Your mind, just like your body, deserves rest. And in that rest, you will find clarity. And most importantly, connect. Loneliness is not just an emotion, it is destructive. Studies show that those who stay socially active, who maintain relationships, who engage in their communities, live longer, healthier lives. You were never meant to go through this alone. So tell me, who have you reached out to today? A friend, a family member, a neighbor? Pick up the phone. Write a message. Step outside and say hello. Because the greatest medicine for the soul is connection. What is one thing you do daily to stay active and positive? Share it in the comments. Inspire someone else. Because every choice you make, every habit you build, every moment you claim for yourself, it matters. You are not fragile, you are not fading, you are alive. Your health, your joy, your life, it is in your hands, and the time to take control of it is now. There is a fear, a quiet one, a lingering one, that settles in as the years pass. A fear that whispers you are losing time. That makes you believe aging means losing independence, losing purpose, losing happiness. But what if I told you that fear is a lie? Aging is not losing, it is transforming, it is becoming. It is stepping into the next great chapter of your life. The question is, will you embrace it? Because here's the truth. Life does not end when you retire. It does not stop being exciting because your hair turns grey. And it certainly does not lose meaning because the world has told you that youth is where joy exists. Fauja Singh was 89 years old when he decided to run his first marathon. Not when he was young, not when people expected it. At 89, and he didn't just complete it, he kept running. year after year, race after race, until he ran his final marathon at the age of 101. 101. So tell me, what is your excuse? The only limits that exist, the only ones, are the ones you believe in. What if, instead of seeing each year as something slipping away, you saw it as something unfolding? Aging is not the end of the book. It is simply turning the page, a new chapter, a new beginning, a new opportunity to experience, to grow, to live. What if, instead of fearing the years ahead, you stepped into them with excitement? What if you decided right now that this chapter, this one, would be your boldest yet? Because aging is not a thief, it is a gift, and how you choose to see it will determine how you live it. So ask yourself, what is something you've always wanted to do but told yourself it was too late? Travel? Write. Learn to dance. Run a race. Start a business. Teach others. What is one thing you have been putting off because you believed that time had already passed? Well, time is still here, and so are you. This is your life. Right here, right now, and it is yours to embrace. Take a deep breath. Let these past few moments sink in. Every story you've heard, every truth you've uncovered, every belief you once held about aging that has now been broken. Because you are standing at the edge of something extraordinary. And the only thing left to do is step forward. Your best years are not behind you, they are within you. Your entire life has been a journey, a collection of moments, lessons, triumphs, and trials. And right now, in this very moment, you have more wisdom, more strength, more clarity than you have ever had before. So what will you do with it? Will you hold on to the old fears, the old doubts, the old limits that told you to slow down? Or will you step into this new season with boldness, with the certainty that your story is still being written? You are not just growing older, you are evolving into the wisest, strongest, most powerful version of yourself. If you believe that your life is just beginning, if you believe that these years ahead of you will be your greatest yet, then say it, write it, claim it. Type yes in the comments. Let the world know that you are still here, still growing, still ready for more. Because the truth is, you have never been more valuable than you are right now. The wisdom you carry, the experiences that have shaped you, the life that still burns within you. The world needs that, it needs you. So stand tall, walk forward, live fully, because this is just the beginning. Subscribe for more inspiration. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. And never forget, the best is yet to come.